Hi everybody, welcome back to Lockdown Lessons Part 26, and with me today I've got André Holtshausen of PayProp UK. So firstly, can I just say hello to you, André?
Hello Phil, it's good to be here, thank you.
Good to see you. So I suppose for the people that are watching this that don't know what PayProp do and what you do, André, perhaps you could just talk us through it a little bit, give us some idea about how you help people.
Yeah, okay, brilliant. Yeah, so I'm CEO for the UK business at the moment. We provide an automated payments platform specifically to the lettings industry, which means we handle the complete money flow that is involved in every tenancy, including all of the reminders, the notifications, the reporting that's relevant to the tenant, the landlord, and the letting agent in that whole process. That's a cloud-based software as a service solution that we offer into the industry.
Fantastic. So in terms of what would you have actually done differently if you knew what was going to happen on March the 23rd last year? What would you have done differently to sort of prepare for that? I know it's a difficult question.
Yeah, it's interesting, you know, when I think back to that and when I look at what we have done, I'm not sure that we would have done something significantly different. I think timing perhaps is part of it. If we had a better sense of the permanency of this new normal, we may have implemented stuff differently. I don't recall us sitting down having a discussion about something and then said, okay, let's just wait and see how this developed. We pretty much have implemented stuff as we went along and worked with what was available to us, I almost want to say, in terms of what we could see there. An interesting point for us as a business was that even before COVID-19, way back in 2019, we already started to think about the distributed working model because that there was all kinds of benefits that could have for our organization. So in a way, our thinking was already there that we're starting to look at a different model. COVID-19 and the lockdown really just brought about implementation of those probably a bit quicker, I would say. Yeah.
Fantastic. So in terms of, I always like to start to be positive and look at the wins that have actually happened during lockdown, because it's not been doom and gloom for absolutely everybody out there. So what wins have you actually seen at PayProp then, André?
Yeah, well, I would say that probably one of the biggest winnings was in terms of the sales process. And when we talk about probably difficulty, that will probably surface as well. But just winning the time that we previously lost in traveling, the cost that we lost in traveling, our salespeople had much more time now during the day to engage in the sales process. And even for our office-based staff, I think the winning in terms of commuting time saved, commuting costs saved, the gains that they had from more work-life benefits that came to them. I mean, those are all things that I consider wins in the process. At the same time, there's certainly a lot of new skills people had to acquire during this time, and that goes across the board for the whole organization. And I certainly think the whole process challenged us to say, how do you respond when something so drastically happens around you, and can you adapt to that? And we certainly learned a lot about our own ability to consider uncertainty, change circumstances around us, and how you replay that with your whole team in a different way. So lots of positives to take from it in a way. I do believe we're a stronger company coming out of it, to be honest. Yeah.
I think a lot of people have developed a level of adaptability and resilience that maybe they didn't even know they'd had before it. So exactly. That can sometimes be a good thing as well.
Yeah.
So, okay. So in terms of those are some of the wins that you've had. What would you say some of the challenges that you've had over the course of the last few months, and how have you adapted to take them head on?
Yeah. And I think I referred to that in the previous question. It's really for our salespeople. I think they, although they were already working from home and spread all over the country, they were certainly used to crossing thresholds and selling to people face to face. They like to smell the carpet, see the whites of people's eyes. I mean, that's the way it was. And suddenly to try to do all of that digitally and over Zoom is just a completely different ballgame. How you connect with people and how you are able to have that engaged conversation with them was just really challenging. I think for people that live on their own, being out and about and seeing people was a very important part of their well-being. And I could probably say the same goes for the office-based staff in a certain context, because the interactivity in the office, the connection with staff, with colleagues, the conversations around the water cooler, all of those kind of things was a very important part of their daily experience, and all of that is suddenly lost. So some of the biggest challenges for us is to remain that we like to believe and think about ourselves as really a family doing business together. So losing that natural connectedness that the old style brought was difficult. To remain connected, to keep the culture going, and to a certain extent remains a challenge today. I mean, that's still there. It's still, how do we make sure that we are in touch with everyone as they all work from their own space. From a technology point of view and all of that, really no hassle. We were set up at cloud-based. We have our systems across the different offices anyway. I mean, we can go and sit in any office and be able to work there. So we didn't have those challenges. It's the people challenges, I think, that was the biggest, and to a certain extent still remain for us today. Yeah.
I agree. So from having spoken to a few business owners about the people situation, I suppose it's the structured phone calls and Zoom calls aren't really the issue. It's the type of the things that you learn in an unstructured manner sometimes through work, like you say, conversations around the water cooler, overhearing someone else's conversation on the phone with a prospect, that people learn in that environment maybe a little bit more. But yeah, on the flip side, yeah, they're getting out there and maybe speaking to more people because there's less downtime, which is obviously a good thing too. So when you actually go back to when you're allowed to do what the hell you like within the workplace, I mean, yeah. What would you actually? Will you just change back to exactly the way you were operating before lockdown, before March 23rd last year, or will there be some sort of changes? Do you think?
For us, it's changed. So we will do business very differently forever. So we're definitely not going back to face-to-face selling. There are just too many benefits that you get through the way we sell. Even though I said there are many new skills that people need to learn to do that, and there are hurdles to overcome when you don't do face-to-face selling. But even our industry, I think, has woken up to the fact that a lot can happen digitally or online and so on. So that, for one, we're definitely not going back to a face-to-face. I'm not saying absolutely not, but whereas that was the norm, it is not going to be. It will really be the exception where we do something like that. As I mentioned before, we were on our way to implement a distributed working model anyway. So the idea that people will work from home or work distributed was just fast-tracked in terms of its implementation. So we will continue down that track. So I'm not expecting to bring people back to the office en masse at all. The lockdowns have probably delayed some of our implementation of the distributed working model a bit, because we're still going to have offices, just not a desk for everyone. So there will still be a hub, and we will travel a lot more because we will see people. So in terms of bringing teams together and all of that, we will bring that in the moment we can do that. We had, just sort of on the side note, in that one moment sort of between lockdowns, I have to say, we had one face-to-face meeting at the very lonely Heathrow Terminal 4, which was quite a bizarre experience, where the terminal was effectively shut, but the Hilton opened up the hotel for us for a day conference, and it was a bizarre experience. But it showed again how important it is for people to be in the same space when you want to really make use of that collaborative working and brainstorming and all of that. It's just not the same on Zoom when you do that. Also, we used to do quarterly events for our company, sort of quarterly reviews, which only involved a few people due to cost and logistics. During lockdown, we shifted that, and now involves the whole company because we can. So going forward, we will continue to do that. It's great to be able to involve all employees in our quarterly review process. It will probably become a combination of it now going forward, that certain group of people will be in the same location together, but then we will open it up through digital mechanisms to the whole company. So so the way we do business have changed forever. That is for sure.
Agreed. I think most people would agree with that. I don't think I've spoken to anybody that says they're going to go back to operating in exactly the same way as they did prior to the first lockdown. So interesting. So in terms of what you're going to be doing personally, when Boris decides to let us out and stop grounding us as he has been doing for the last couple of months, what's the first thing that you're going to be doing personally, Andre, when you're released into the wild, shall we say?
Released into the wild. Yeah, I have to say, well, shall I confess that I've actually become quite comfortable with my lockdown situation. So I did actually say to someone the other day, I don't know what I'm going to do if I am allowed to go out. But certainly something as a family as well that we're talking about is the ability to just socialize with groups of friends over a weekend, have a good braai, as we say in South Africa, a good barbecue, and just that we miss, just getting friends together. We've been out and about walking and all of that, which because we could do that, but it's really that bit. And I guess to be able to go to a restaurant or meet up with friends in that kind of setting is something that we have missed. Indeed, yeah.
Definitely. I think the mind's going to be I'm going to be I'm not really sure between restaurant, pub, football match, inviting people over for dinner. I'm going to try and probably do everything in one weekend and see what happens.
Yeah,
good stuff.
indeed.
So final two questions for you, Andre. So if anyone's watching this, that's you're a potential customer of yours, someone that you really feel that you could help, what would that person and business look like?
Okay. Well, it actually is anyone that's involved in professionally managing a lettings portfolio. And whether that is 20 properties or thousands of properties, it doesn't really matter. That is our customer. And when they become a customer, they benefit from a lot of admin time saving because we automate so many repetitive activities. It means that they can get back to what they're really good at, and that is doing the property management, while the client accounting is pretty much taken care of in a automated way. It's transparent, it's self-reconciliation. So there's just a lot of time that's being saved there. So really that is the positioning. Anyone, as I say, that is professionally managing a letting portfolio is our customer.
Good stuff. That's lovely. So if anyone wants to get in contact with PayProp or yourself, Andre, what would be the best way? I can post the details below after in LinkedIn and on YouTube as well. But if you could just give us a quick rundown of how best they can reach you.
Yeah, obviously, if you can just Google our name, you'll find us there easily. Go to our website where there is the contact us space where you can provide us with basic contact details and someone will get right back to you. That also sometimes give us some context about who we speak to. So that's helpful. The telephone number to reach us on is there as well. So if you want to drop us a call, then we can be in touch with you in that way as well.
Lovely. Okay. Well, for now, thank you so much, Andre. I'm sure we'll catch up soon, but thanks very much for your time.
Thank you very much, Phil. Appreciate it.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Go well. Bye-bye.